ChatGPT has revolutionized the field of natural language processing. But how did ChatGPT develop? From its first iteration, GPT-1, to the GPT-4 version that we'll show in this video. Before the GPT-1 natural language processing models were trained, examine the important turning points in ChatGPT's history to learn how it changed the landscape of the field. This meant that the model was restricted to the tasks it had been trained for and was unable to complete tasks outside of its training set when applied to huge volumes of annotated data for a single task. To get around these restrictions, OpenAI presented a generative language model, GPT-1, constructed from unlabeled input, which users could then modify to perform downstream tasks like classification, question answering, and sentiment analysis, etc. This indicates that the model attempts to produce an acceptable response based on input from a sentence or question. The data used to train the model is not tagged. Launched in 2018, GPT-1. It had its pre-training on a sizable book corpus dataset. Important milestones were reached by GPT-1, such as performing numerous jobs with a zero-shot performance. This capability demonstrated how generative language modeling may be used to generalize the model using transfer learning as its foundation. Despite its flaws, GPT-1 paved the way for more sophisticated language models like GPT-2, GPT-3, and beyond. GPT-1 was the first generation of this language model, and it was revolutionary in its own right. GPT became a powerful facilitator to perform naturally language processing tasks with very little fine-tuning. However, GPT-1 had some limitations, such as a relatively small number of parameters, 117 million. But researchers and developers continued to advance as time went on, pushing the boundaries of. This leads to our conversation about potential upgrades between GPT-1 and GPT-2. What does it mean that GPT-2 is the second version of this amazing language model? What specific enhancements were made between GPT-1 and GPT-2? First and foremost, ChatGPT-2 was developed using a substantially larger amount of training data. It included 1.5 billion parameters as opposed to GPT-1's 117 million parameters, allowing GPT-2 to produce more convincing and realistic results. As a result, the model was better able to comprehend the subtleties of human language and provide responses that were more logical and human-like. Additionally, the model's architecture was enhanced, enabling more effective processing and quicker response times, making Conversation GPT-2 more robust and adaptable than its predecessor. But the invention of the unsupervised learning technique to ChatGPT may second be the most significant advance made. This method brought us one step closer to truly autonomous AI, and as ChatGPT continues to develop and improve, the possibilities for its applications in industries like medicine, law, and finance are truly limitless. This method allowed the model to learn and make predictions based on enormous amounts of data without the need for explicit instruction or guidance from humans, which was a major breakthrough. The internet has been buzzing with discussion of GPS. Like its predecessor, GPT-2, the concept of a language model that learns unsupervised without any fine-tuning captured the public's attention. It is trained on a vast amount of internet data, including books, articles, and websites, which allows it to understand and analyze language patterns that it can then use to generate its own text. In fact, it can even generate text that is difficult to distinguish. One of GPT-3's most impressive features, aside from its other capabilities, is its zero-shot learning. It can so carry out a duty for which it has never received training. Only by being provided a few examples. Previously, a student who, by grasping the underlying ideas, can succeed on an exam they have never taken before. Since squirrels normally consume nuts and we don't anticipate them to use a camera or act, the situation is amusing. In a different experiment, this technology goes beyond simple picture recognition. GPT-4 excels where it is also more collaborative and creative than ever before. It can produce and edit material, for instance, with users, whether it be a song, a screenplay, or just getting to know their writing style in a simulation. GPT-4 has also shown its worth in academic exams. The earlier GPT 3.5 scored in the bottom 10% of test takers on the bar exam required for graduates of U.S. law schools, but GPT-4 scored in the top 10%. This demonstrates that GPT-4 can handle considerably more subtle instructions and solutions to more complex issues. GPT-4's reasoning abilities also beat earlier models in this area. OpenAI has worked to improve these flaws with GPT-4 by training it on data from user conversations with ChatGPT. In a demo on the OpenAI website, GPT-4 was able to find a 30-minute meeting slot based on the schedules of 3 people plus more multilingual, answering questions across 26 different languages with high accuracy. It responds incorrectly to prohibited content less and more sensitively to medical and self-harm advice. However, the business frequently issues a warning that GPT-4 may still fabricate facts and users should use caution when producing results. Currently accessible to ChatGPT Plus members, developers can join a waitlist to gain access to the API, and will keep an eye out for more updates on GPT-4's development as it faces problems and controversies in the future developments of Chat. GPT Artificial General Intelligence, or AGI, refers to a machine that can reason and think like a human. A fresh AI model called GPT-4 has been created by OpenAI. It is a more developed variation of GPT-3. Microsoft employee Sebastian Bubeck had early access to GPT-4. Sebastian and his team have been examining the behaviors of GPT-4 in order to better grasp its future capabilities, which is an intriguing endeavor. You might be asking how they arrived to the conclusion that GPT-4 has the potential to be an AGI. Conclusion: in their testing with GPT-4, Sebastian and his team discovered that it can produce text. That is quite similar to language spoken by humans. They tested it by asking. It has asked many questions and has intelligently and accurately answered them. Answers: in a recent episode of the Sam Altman and Lex Fridman podcast, Lex posed the question, "What are your thoughts on the potential dangers of AI?" Sam responded, "The biggest danger of AI is not necessarily that it will become malicious and try to harm humans, but rather that it could be misused or unintentionally cause harm due to bias or flawed programming," stressing the need for responsible AI development. Sam was upbeat about GPT-4's ability to have a good effect and said, "I think that ChatGPT is a really cool technology." He acknowledged that there is always a risk of unintended consequences and emphasized the need for careful monitoring and regulation of AI technologies as we conclude this incredible journey through the evolution of ChatGPT from GPT-1 to GPT-4. Things, and I don't see it as inherently dangerous. The world as we know it is being revolutionized by artificial intelligence, but with tremendous power comes great responsibility, therefore we must utilize AI carefully. We can only speculate about what GPT-5, which hasn't yet been launched, might bring to the table as we look ahead to the future of the conversational GPT series. However, the potential improvements in natural language comprehension and creative text generation are unquestionably intriguing. Building on the achievements of its predecessors, GPT-5 may very well push the limits of artificial intelligence even further.